all are just outside of Silvery Moon. Last last time we met with you all were planning on heading eastward towards Citadel Felbar to deliver a letter of recommendation to the royalty there. So, um, last session, I do not believe we actually officially made it out of Silvery Moon. We were kind of having some discussions just outside of the city. So, with that, is there anything else you all would like to do in Silvery Moon before taking your leave?
Nope, I think we're good to start moving.
Oh, sad baby.
Hey.
Okay, so, um, yeah, the journey from here to Citadel Felbar is a few days. Let's go ahead and map that out real quick. So, 2 days to the Hawk's Nest.
What is the Hawk's Nest?
The Hawk's Nest is a fort set here in the Nether Mountains. The Nether Mountains are rather notorious for orcish activity. We talked about this a little bit during last session, but there was a massive war here some couple decades ago called the War of the Silver Marches, where hundreds of thousands of orcs came streaming out of the mountains. The full reach of that is beyond the scope of this, but hundreds of thousands of orcs had been spilling forth from the northern mountains and essentially laid siege to the entire Silver Marches region. The dwarves and the elves of Silvery Moon were able to band together and force them all out. However, there are still many of them here, and here in the Nether Mountain passes, they do have quite a strong presence. So the Hawk's Nest, to answer your question, is a fortified settlement right in the middle of this valley, designed to keep an eye on the area and make sure that the orcs don't pose too much of a threat to places like Silvery Moon, Sundabar, and Yolanthar to the south. Like, what's that? What's that place? History lesson.
Then he just goes, cool.
Okay, so if there's nothing else you all would like to do in Silvery Moon, let's go ahead and get that. So since it's going to be multiple days, we will do one roll for each day of travel instead of morning, afternoon, evening for each day of travel, because that could see us taking like 3 weeks just to get to Citadel Felbar.
Yeah, I could do it.
So do we just to get the line of, is this the roll that we're making right now for before or after we've taken a long rest since the last battle?
You all can choose to take a long rest at Silvery Moon if you'd like, before departing.
Okay.
Sounds like a good idea.
Okay.
Before heading to bed, Latoni's going to he's going to sit down in his room and then he's going to draw a little circle in the wall. It's going to open up a tiny portal where he can pick berries out of, and he's going to cast Good Berry with the rest of his spell slots.
Nice.
Getting 20 berries. And he'll distribute them. How many people do we have?
There are 6 total, including you.
Okay. 1 second.
Okay, we're doing a long rest that has meat.
Hypothetically,
Mhm.
if those good berries were smushed into dye and Dandy dyed her hair again,
They would, your hair would like glow
I'm doing it.
for 24 hours.
I'm doing it.
Yeah, everyone gets 3 berries.
We
what
need to
color?
resummon E.
What color would that impart? Oh right, he got munched, or he got sniped by a magic
Yep.
missile.
So
All of the berries are different colors because he had to pick them up from like different parts of the Feywild.
E-I-E-I-O.
time to burn another set of herbs and stuff, which probably means I'm going to purchase a few more bundles of them before we leave.
Totally doable in Silvery Moon at standard price. Nice.
Yeah, I think it says 25 gold a piece, so. Let me take off. I'll just take off.
forget.
I think it's only 10 gold for a familiar.
Okay.
Incense.
I forget. Did Silvery Moon have a magic place?
Oh,
What were you looking to buy? Because Everlund was the place with the magic item shops. I don't think Silvery Moon has places to shop specifically for specific magic items, but we may be able to roll the. Yeah, we could roll one. We could roll up one shop. What were you looking for?
I wanted to see if I could find one of those unmoving sticks. Those seemed fun.
Like an immovable rod?
Yeah, an
They're
unmovable
basic.
rod.
Okay.
Do they?
They're one of my
They have
favorite items
mages
besides the.
in Silvery Moon?
Oh yeah, lots of mages in Silver Moon.
Okay, so I could get like powdered silver and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, any of your material components that you need, you can get from there. And then incense. I believe it's fine incense, right?
yeah.
Dandy feels left out, so she's gonna grab some silver powder just to carry.
Oh,
Sprinkle it in her hair.
No, she just feels left out. Everyone else has a pouch of crap. She wants a pouch of crap.
I have.
Let me
plans
check
for
this
my
right quick and I'll
pouch
be
of
able
crap.
to tell you.
Incense.
I like the idea of Dandy just like wasting her magic berries every day by like putting different colors in her hair.
Yeah, it's 10 gold piece worth of charcoal, incense, and herbs and must be reconsumed. Okay. Okay, so it is 10 gold a pop. 10 gold a pop.
What's it under? I'm looking at the adventuring gear table right now. I'm not seeing incense. I mean, I know it's in here. I'm just blind.
Well, I just looked at under
Block of
what the spell
incense?
said.
Lock? No.
The spell component itself says it takes 10 gold pieces worth of. Let me just do something right quick. I just looked at the spell itself.
Okay, so it's probably just there and not. Oh, you know what I'm thinking of? It's Tomb of Annihilation has blocks of incense that you can buy or that are listed in the adventurer's gear for that game. Because bugs.
Oh my gosh, Ruth, that was the biggest toot. You're a monster. So we get E back?
Yeah, he's back.
Okay,
Does
so
he bite Charles?
Took one off and bought several more little pouches of it to store places, and so there we go.
we're gonna go ahead and generate a shop, a magic item shop here, Latoni, to see if they have what you are looking
Any leftover goodberry dye will be smeared into Beef's coat. Me and my ethereal horse.
Oh wait, we could like roll on the Roy G. Biv table and see if like what colors they are.
Cotton candy.
for. Okay, Latoni, there is not currently a immovable rod here in Silvery Moon, but if you send word back to Everlund, which is totally doable from here, by the time you all get back there, along with Dandy's armor, you should be able to pick that up as well. Let me find our sane magic prices. Since this is a specific item, the price will be a tad bit inflated, but not too dramatically. So let's see what the sane magic prices has to say about purchasing an immovable
It's
rod.
gonna be like 20,000 gold or something.
You know, the sane magic prices does tend to, the immovable rod is pretty useful. I was going to say that the sane magic prices does tend to go off of use and not just rarity, but an immovable rod is quite useful. It's
Yeah,
5k. It's not too crazy.
Yeah. Okay, never mind.
So yeah, they probably charge you $52.50 for it.
What's the cost of a almost immovable rod.
It's a
Moderately immovable.
hard to move rod.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like the DC to move it is 20.
What's the
and then-
equate version?
Well, we can sell you a movable rod for a nickel.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, all the
Hand you a stick.
A shower rod, you know.
You guys are my favorite.
yeah, all the stain stuff is just super expensive.
Thus is life.
Mhm.
Ha! Funny enough, there's actually some
Put it
things on
back.
there that normally would run super high though.
Right.
If you check out like the Scimitar of Speed, I think it's only 6K or some shit like that, and I think that's probably one of the greatest weapons someone can find.
Scimitar of Speed.
Yeah, but most stuff is like uncommon, and then it's like 20,000 gold, and
Yeah,
it's really useful. But the intent is that it's supposed to be really common, so like it's supposed to be a relatively easy to make item.
Easy to make or easy to find. It's like extremely useful, very lucrative, but it's like Maseratis. You can find them, but they're going to cost you an arm and a leg. Okay. If everyone is done at Silvery Moon with your long rests and doing any shopping you need to do in the major city before departing, let's go ahead and see a D20 hit the table. Nate, it's been a while since you've rolled for a random encounter. Why don't you roll that D20 for us?
Sure.
Let it
And
be
also-
your fault.
I'm also gonna go ahead and cast Aid as we head out. I'm gonna target it'd be Latoni, Dandy, and Horus.
Oh,
Thank you.
Awesome.
So you guys get an extra 5 hit points to work with.
So, as you all move from Silvery Moon to the Hawk's Nest, the terrain here is just very hilly, very nondescript. You have the mountains towering to the east, to the north and south of you. But you do make it to the Hawk's Nest without too much of a problem. Did we lose somebody?
Oh no, I had to re-plug in something.
Okay. So, as we talked about a little bit earlier, the Hawk's Nest is a fortified settlement that overlooks Silvery Moon Pass. It's built to defend the pass against orc hordes and other threats, thus protecting Silvery Moon's eastern flank. As you all approach from the hills, perched atop a rocky crag and surrounded by high battlements, you see the Hawk's Nest. Your reputation precedes you in most places that you go now, and your party is not exactly... You all stand out a bit. So as you approach, the gates do open for you, and you are allowed entrance. The Hawk's Nest is under the protection of the Order of the Gauntlet. You see their insignia throughout the area. The Lord's Alliance isn't disliked or anything here, but they just simply don't hold power here as they do in many other places in the Sword Coast. The Order of the Gauntlet being in charge. The
Do you know a lot
Highstone...
about them?
They're paladins, clerics. The Order of the Gauntlet is very much a do-good organization.
Okay.
We don't
So-
know anyone like them.
Oh yeah, Horus, you have magical armor and magical shield now, don't you?
I make my armor magical every day, and I have a very nice magical shield. Thank you.
Right. So I need to move my infusions onto someone. I forgot about that.
Oh, so you get to pick up another invocation. What are they called for artificers?
Well, I have
Infusion.
yeah, I have 4 infusions, but I can't use enhanced defense on you anymore because I don't have anything to target. So
I think Dandy.
let's see. Dandy doesn't wear armor. He doesn't have a shield.
Dandy wears armor.
I
Did you
wear
wear it?
armor. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, I can give it to Dandy then.
I currently have on.
Chain.
Hold on. Yeah, chain. And I have a shield.
So you're proficient in medium armor?
Proficient in
barbed
something.
armor.
Hold on, let me check.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. You are in fact
Even if
proficient.
she
in
were proficient in heavy armor, she couldn't rage in it.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Oh, they couldn't rage in it?
Yeah, you can't rage in heavy armor.
Oh, wow.
That's what prevents you from taking a level of fighter. And
Just to get heavy armor. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I would be equally mad in really heavy armor.
Well, you don't get the mechanical benefits. Of
What's your
rage.
AC
yeah.
right now, Dandy?
AC is 17.
Okay, so I could boost you up to 18 AC.
And you already have a magical shield,
Oh.
right, Dandy? A +1
Oh
shield.
wait, no, I remember what I was gonna do now. I was gonna make the weapon for our white magical, so they could not have to worry about resistance anymore.
It's
was
just a
gonna
plain shield, Sean.
Okay.
That's right. So yeah, so basically I was gonna target the longsword, I believe, of the white and give it +1 to make it magical, so that they could bypass magical resistance now as well.
I was ready to do a Sailor Moon magic girl transformation. Okay.
Alright, we're good to go.
It's okay. I'm hoping to get the armor when we go back to Everland.
Okay. Go ahead.
Can Wyatt experiment with making holy oil?
Holy oil. Why am I concerned?
But he's a
Well,
pyro.
I have ceremony, which makes holy water. I figure how hard would it be to make holy oil?
They do use it for
I'll note-
anointing and stuff.
I'll note you don't need to have ceremony to make holy water. You can just do that as a cleric.
What are
Over.
your intentions with this, Wyatt? I mean, yeah. What are your intentions here?
I essentially want to make alchemist flask, but instead of it doing like 1d4 fire damage, I want it to do 1d4 radiant damage, and just still treat it as alchemist fire.
Holy water already does damage.
Right, but does it do radiant damage? Holy water?
I have
Or
no
is it
idea.
fire? It does
Honestly, I've
to,
never used holy water in a combat situation.
It does it to fiends and undead specifically.
Okay.
Well,
So
it's also
the
hard to get
objective
off.
here, so yeah, holy water. As an action, you can splash the contents of the flask onto a creature within 5 feet of you. Throw it if you want to. If the target is fiend or undead, it takes 2d6 radiant damage. So, is your intention to do that with the oil so that you can have it kind of be a dual thing, so it does fire damage to non undead and fiends, and then radiant to undead and fiends?
No, that's thinking way too far ahead. I literally just want holy Molotovs.
All right, Wyatt. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll allow that. We'll figure it out when you actually put it to practice.
So I think okay, so like regular oil, I think you can splash and then light it on fire.
Right.
This would just be like specifically to fiends and undead. It burns for an extended period of time in that
Yeah.
area, but it's only holy and it only affects those creatures. I think
Right.
that'd be-
Yeah, I kind of like that. So if you were to get it on the undead, instead of just doing the 2d6 radiant damage, it would do the 2d6 radiant damage and then 1d6 for every turn until they use an action to wipe it off like an oil. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. All right, Wyatt. Once you have done that, it'll obviously take me some time to make a handout for it because I'm pretty sure holy oil does not exist in 5e yet.
Yeah.
So it'll take.
That's why I went and looked at alchemist fire, and I was like, I'm just gonna use that.
All right, cool. So you want to just use the alchemist fire as the stats for it for now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Okay, everyone.
Irvin is somewhat concerned by this line of thought.
Dandy is thrilled.
Don't you get the dichotomy between a holy anarchist?
What's the dichotomy?
He is both a religious fiend and still doesn't want to follow the scripture of or the societal norms.
All right,
He's
everyone.
he's
Sons
just
of
tired.
Anarchy cleric style.
I need to watch that show. It's one of those shows that I always hear about as just like an example of excellent writing, but I have yet to watch it.
Good. It's brutal, but it's good.
Yeah. Okay, everyone. So, as you're all entering into the Hawk's Nest, it is as you would expect. There are several temples within. specifically to Torm, Tyr, Lathander, the basically Order Tide of the Sword Coast. And as you all are entering, you all see several flights of griffins patrolling the area, kind of flying in mostly eastward and westward directions, but they're most certainly patrolling the area.
How'd you like one of those, Danders?
Yes, please. Would 400 gold cover it?
a griffin?
Yeah.
I can drop 500 on it.
She's just shaking her little tiny coin
Wait.
purse.
So are these? Wait. So the
Obviously
griffin-
not. I'm just playing.
Aw.
Yeah, there's not there's stables and things like that for griffins here at the Hawk's Nest, but there's certainly no price tags attached to them. Each one belongs to a knight of the Order of the Gauntlet.
So what you're
pretty
saying
cool.
is the only way to get one is to steal one.
That you can test that hypothesis at your discretion.
You could join.
Or
Andy has poor
easy
money
way.
concepts, so she just thinks she can shake her little money bag and something will happen.
So yeah, everyone. Most of the knights are out on patrols right now. The one in charge of this place is one Lord Cavalos. He commands the knights. And yeah, about every 1 to 3 hours that you're here, certain knights on their griffins will land and be stabled. But yeah, this is essentially just a rest stop for you all. Lord Cavalos is currently out on patrol. If you all want to wait for him, he may have some information for you. But yeah.
We're heading to Horace's home, right?
Citadel Felbar. It's
Oh,
basically
opposite, okay.
the sister hold to Horus's home.
It's
Okay.
the West Coast. It's the door of West Coast. Oh, we might as well spend the night here, so then we should wait for Lord Cavalos.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So Lord Cavalos would arrive later on in the evening, during just after sunset. Him and his flight would arrive. When he does get there, he would greet you all and let you all know that he is glad to have able-bodied people here. If you would all tell him that you do plan to head to Citadel Felbar, he would let you know that the passes between here and Sundabar are relatively clear. However, there has been an unusual amount of fire giant activity in the area. Seem to be searching for something. He says that if anyone is going to know more about that, it will be the king and queen at Citadel Felbar. He has only been dealing with one or two at a time, but apparently entire formations have been marching out of the mountain and into the woods and into the marches, and from there out into the rest of the north.
That sounds less than ideal.
What kind of giants?
Fire giants. Horus, you would be acutely aware of the fact that their hold, the fire giant hold, is nearby. It is Iron Slag right here.
Ah,
Oh,
Iron Slag is nearby. It's right here.
oh, perfect. Let's go there now.
Not just yet.
But like soon, right?
Okay. But yeah, I would say you all can take a long rest here, but you've all just taken one. There has not been anything between. So, yeah, this is
long
essentially just a fortress. There's not too much going on here, and the only news that they would have for you is of the uptick in fire giant activity in the region.
All right.
So are we are taking a long rest here then? Or no?
Yes, you all can take a long rest here if you want to make some more good berries.
Oh,
So,
okay. Yeah. That's fine. So yeah, reaches back into the Feywild, grabs out some more berries, bunch of different colors this time. He'll now that Dandy's hair color is like fading, he'll give her some more. Everyone has 10 good berries.
And I'll do the same thing again with aid.
Andy, why don't you check in with Katha? Tell her where we are, what we did last, all in 25 words or less.
Sorry, so not.
Not that I'm
Dear
the boss of you.
Katha.
You do what you want.
Dear Katha, how are you? We are in Hawk's Nest. Fire giant activity nearby. How many? What am I at?
I don't know. I didn't get to my
Okay.
text editor in
That's
time.
okay.
You don't.
It's definitely less than
Heading-
25.
Right, that'd be funny.
Okay.
Yeah,
Heading
you're at
to
18.
Field Bar.
21.
Requesting griffins.
Kids in camp suck. Want to come home.
You have. Wait, you're at 19 right now. Sorry.
20.
Okay, love you. Bye.
All right, that's 25. All right. So Katha would send back.
Stellar job, Dandy.
I really enjoy those guys.
Favorite spell.
So Katha would send back. Fire giant activity noted. Large alliance force preparing to march on Grudhog. Massive gathering of hill giants.
Is that the notes that we intercepted?
Yes, we had a note
Awesome.
saying that would happen.
Okay.
She has 5 words left.
Love you too, Smoochy Boochy.
It would end with unable to procure griffins.
Perfect.
Are
And
there
then
sending
she has
stone
one left,
emojis?
so it would be apologies.
Are there sending stone emojis? Can she send
Oh
us
my
that?
god. We'll say one emoji per word. We'll see if you can get some creative usage out of that.
I love it.
Because it can like even if the creature doesn't speak language, it will like translate it, won't it? So it's like
It turns into a rune. Like if it goes to a dwarf, it'll be translated into a dwarvish rune.
I love it so much. Yep, she gets a sad face emoji.
it says it with like the code and the underscore.
Nice. Okay, everyone. So the following morning, departing from Hawk's Nest, let's go ahead and get one more. Let's go and get another D20.
I'll roll.
Okay. All right, everyone. So you do make it to the pass between Sundabar, the northern road heading towards Citadel Felbar. So we would make camp here, and well, technically we would have made camp several times between Hawk's Nest and here, but for the sake of not rolling 1,000 random encounters, your trip between Hawk's Nest and this major crossroads does go by without any major incident. So we need one more roll to get to Citadel Felbar.
For the sake of like spellcasting aid, I just do it every morning as we depart.
You got it. I'm sure it's the same with the good berries too.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, everyone. So you do make it to Citadel Felbar. So as you all approach into the mountain, the roads would become very well kept. This is very much a well looked after portion of the area. You pass by several statues commemorating mighty warriors. On your way here, you would see several commemorations of battles that were fought here, especially between the dwarves and the orcs during the War of the Silver Marches. And as you continue to climb up northward and into the mountain, the formidable fortress would begin to show up in front of you all. So, this dwarven fortress city lies beneath the Robin Mountains here. To enter the place, you all have to traverse an elevated road with 100-foot high cliffs on both sides of it. Very dwarf. What is it with dwarves and like the freaking railless death drops? Whatever it may be. You do have to traverse this elevated road with 100-foot cliffs on both sides of it, and you eventually pass through two enormous gates called the Hammer and Anvil. Horace, you may have passed through this route once or twice, but your main means of reaching Citadel Felbar would have been through the massive network of underground tunnels and mines that connect Citadel Adbar to Citadel Felbar. So you may have seen this before, but not as many times as you would have made the trip under. But you eventually do pass through two enormous gates called the Hammer and the Anvil. Two wide parapets with crenellated battlements called the North Vigil and the South Vigil stand outside of these gates on the nearby mountainsides. As you're all making your way up, you can see the closer that you get to the gates proper, the more defenders that you see. There are artfully hidden ballista embedded in the walls of the mountainsides. You can see that they take security very seriously here.
Is that normal, or is that specifically for the giant situation?
It is normal.
Okay.
So, as you all approach the main gates, they would swing open for you, and a small contingent of dwarves in full armor would greet you all. The one in the lead would step forward, and he would introduce himself as Beardeer Drunk Ale. Go ahead and drop that in for you all real
Lol.
quick.
Doors and their drinks.
Does he have a rank?
Does he have a rank? I believe
Is he a captain?
Did Horace boss him around?
He would have a rank with the Order of the Gauntlet, and here his
So
like
knight.
right.
Well met, knight drunk ale. I am Horace Mighty Forge of the clan from Citadel Akbar. We come to an audience for the king and queen. We have a letter of recommendation from blacksmith
Gelrin
Narth?
Fohammer.
From Gelrin Fohammer.
He nods and he says, "Well met indeed, well met indeed. We've been watching your approach for some time now. You are most certainly welcome here." And they gesture you inside. Your services to the area have not gone unnoticed. And yeah, he leads you on inside and he says, "We are to bring you before the king and queen. We understand they have a gift for you."
Oh,
I like gifts.
Don't like the music just started.
It's a dwarf city.
Oh, by the way, Sean, when we were in Hawk's Nest, I would have sold some inventions there.
Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and retroactively roll you a D. First off, roll your charisma check.
Okay. Charisma.
Followed by your intelligence check.
is there any way I can ever help him with a charisma check?
Yes, I will say that anytime, we will of course need a description of how that looks, but yeah, anytime that you would like to, Brevin, you can help Charles out with his charisma check, and we will just consider that advantage on the roll. But either way, Charles, your gold take from Hawk's Nest was not too impressive, only netting you
Smaller place.
only netting you 15 gold.
All right.
Yeah, I think we talked about it last time. When we do this, we're going to combine the results of those two rolls, and that's how much you make that day.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And if I crit, there's like something special, maybe.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like doubled or something. Critical success, double the money. All right.
Okay.
And Citadel Felbar. I do the same thing in Citadel Felbar while they're off doing their thing, probably.
Oh, nice.
So I guess one more time. Charisma and intelligence.
At least you got
So-
advantage.
So 10 and 17 for 27.
Okay. All right, everyone. So, as you're making your way through the halls of Citadel Felbar, there is, of course, mostly dwarves here. There are one or two of the various other races present, but this is very much a dwarven stronghold.
Hooray,
As
you
you're
guys suck.
So as you're making your way through, people would be kind of looking around, and every now and then they'd be pointing towards Horus and talking to one another. And eventually, Beardeer Drunkale and his small contingent would lead you into a very wide, open hall, a good 100 feet down at the other end of it. There are two large stone thrones, and Beardeer gestures you and says the king and queen await an audience.
Thank you kindly.
Is there a courtier who can advise us in polite introductions?
Beardeer is standing next to you, and he's already got his god of flagon out. Burps. Oh, I suppose it'd be appropriate to bow.
Makes sense.
Yeah, we just would not want any
Revan does so,
improprieties.
because... Yep.
Revan?
Revan does take a bow because he's not going to stand up in front of king and queen.
So they're the king and queen are still a good 100 feet away from you all at the end of this
Okay.
massive hall. But Beardeer appreciates the gesture and would say it's about time he got some respect around here.
Oh, of course.
Approach the throne.
Approach the throne.
Okay. So Citadel Felbar has fallen to orcs twice in the past 100 years or so, only to be reclaimed and rebuilt. As such, leadership has changed hands a few times. Felbar's great hero king, Emrys Warcrown, who restored Felbar to his former glory during the War of the Silver Marches, died shortly after the war, while helping his fellow dwarves reclaim the lost city of Gauntlgrim. Since his death, the leadership of the Felbaran dwarves has fallen to Emrys's distant kin, King Morin and Queen Tithmel. I'll go ahead and drop those names in the chat as well.
Queen. What was her name?
Tithmel.
Oh, there it is. Thank you.
No problem. So, Horus, you would have heard good things about these two rulers. They rule kindly and justly. They don't abuse their power in any way. And as you'll approach them, they would both stand and kind of outstretch their arms in a welcoming gesture. And they say, "We had hoped," the queen would speak first, and she would say that she had hoped that you all would grace Citadel Felbar with your presence at some point during your long journeys. Your tales are reaching far and wide throughout the land. And she looks towards you, Horus, and she says, "You especially are garnering quite the reputation among your people."
I am just a humble servant of my God and King.
She
Amen.
nods, and King Morin would say, "I'm sure your family back home will be more than happy to hear that. Humility is very rare among those as well known as you lot. So he says, "What brings you to our halls?"
We were advised to come here from one of your smiths, Gelfrin Fohammer. He
Ah,
had
Gelrin.
a letter. Beg your pardon?
Gelrin, yes, yes. How is he?
Gelrin. He is well. His smithy burned down under an attack from fire giants, but we dealt with them fairly but justly, except for that one that blew up.
The
Uh,
queen furrows her brows and says, "That proud fool. He must intend to rebuild his practice without any aid." And she looks over to a dwarf advisor nearby. She says, "Send the means, funds, materials, whatever Gelrin may need to rebuild his forge back in Tribor as quickly as you can. Man is too proud to ask for any assistance, but representative of Citadel Felbar cannot be operating out of a burnt-down forge for more than a few days."
your generosity brings a tear to my eye. That is very thoughtful of you, Queen.
He nods and
How are you? What are your needs?
says, "Well, I'm sure by now, traveling through the Silvery Moon Pass, you've heard about what's happening to the north of us, in Iron Slag. We are worried that Zalto," she says with in very unmitigated disdain. She says the name Zalto. "He is up to something in his mountain hold. Our our people have not returned, those that we've sent to look into what he's up to, but from what we're gathering of those fire giants returning to Iron Slag, they appear to be constructing some sort of machine."
A machine, you say?
She nods. She says, "A powerful machine. Our historians say that it's been designed to destroy dragons. I shudder to think what they may do with such a machine if they were to turn it against..." She looks around.
Well, we do
"Us."
know of such a machine. Uh, it is composed of many parts, and several of them were acquired by. Oh,
We know that at least two have been removed out of the reach of these fire giants.
by the Alliance.
Yes.
Queen Tithmel says that it is better that they are in the hands of the Alliance than in Iron Slag. You all would know that the people here in the Silver Marches have very little appreciation for the Alliance because of the Alliance's very specific non-interference with the War of the Silver Marches. Lord's Alliance could have helped a lot, and they chose not to. So there's not a whole lot of love for the organization up here. But they do acknowledge that your helping them is helping the realm. So there's definitely no hostility towards all of you. And with that, as a sign of gratitude, King Morin would say that his queen's generosity certainly knows no bounds. And kind of in response to that, Queen Tithmel would approach you all, and she would hold out in her hands two small... It appears to be something solid inside of a leather satchel. They fit into the palm of her hand. Now, she hands them out to you and says that these are for you.
Sending stones?
Not sending stones. One moment. make sure that we get to do this randomly. Okay. So she hands them out to you, and hands them both to you, Horace. Do you take them? Oh, you're muted, Horace.
What does she hand over?
The two small leather satchels, the two small leather pouches that fit in her hand. There's obviously something standing up inside of them, some sort of object inside of these little pouches.
It is not for me to reject the generosity of the king and queen. But once again I protest what we do is for the good of our God, our countries, our kings.
She smiles and says that then may these aid you in that.
Thank you.
So
Okay.
she hands you those, and Horace, inside are two figurines of wondrous power.
Oh my.
Oh, hello. What forms do they have?
I am looking at that right now.
Please, an elephant. That'd be so funny.
Figurine of a dragon? Wait, what?
They are both golden lions.
Ooh, that's not
We're
bad.
ready. We're ready to build a little library.
Oh, okay. We can only use it for 1 hour per 7 days.
Wow.
Dandy wants to know if she can wrestle one of them.
The king looks towards you and gives you a bit of a smile, approving. The queen, concerned, she says, "Why would you wrestle a lion?"
We only have
Why
one
wouldn't
left.
you?
Because
Hey,
I'm
that
made
laugh.
of delicious flesh, I would want to
7 day
devour.
cooldown.
I'm
Nate, I see your messages, and we will certainly start working on that.
Sounds good.
Well, now I'm scared.
Well, Queen Tithmel, we deeply appreciate the generosity and the gift of these items of magic and power.
Wondrous
entrusted
power.
in your care.
Wondrous power.
Uh, though I take it from the sounds of it, you're needing someone to attempt to see if they can give you any. It sounded as if you may need someone to try to see if they can get fire giants are up to.
So with that, Queen Tithmel would look very concerned, and she looks out towards you all, and she says that they've sent some of their best to Iron Slag, and they have not returned. She will not request that of you. The king, however, steps forward. He says, "However, if you do bring me Zalto's head, you will be greatly rewarded."
Well, ladies and gents, what do y'all think?
So
Nothing else but to take
this
a
is a
look.
this is a quest to kill someone.
It is not. So they would tell you that they understand if it takes you some time to figure more out about Zalto, about Iron Slag before heading there. But if you do find yourselves at odds with these giant lords and find yourselves in possession of, say, their king's head, if you were to bring it here to Citadel Felbar, they would reward you greatly.
Alright. So this is a giant that we're hunting, essentially?
The fire giant, the king fire giant, Duke Zalto.
Ooh, this could be fun.
He sounds like a comic book villain. I'm in.
Well, if we find ourselves in such a situation, I have no problem, you know, putting a few arrows in him.
King Morin laughs and he says it'll take more than a few arrows to take down the Duke, I'm afraid. But I do appreciate.
Well, actually, you see, with these special arrows, you pull it out of his bag. They'll go into his skin and there's like burying itself in there and like reach towards his heart until he dies. You know, it's super effective.
He looks a little bit afraid of you now.
But he's like, I haven't had a chance to try it though, so I don't know if it works yet.
Ooh, target practice.
So, King Morin would go on to tell you that when you do find yourselves capable of defeating Zalto, if you are to bring back his head so that they can decorate their halls with it, as he has been nothing but trouble for them.
Big as a giant's head.
Hmm?
How big is a giant's head? Like, would that take a lot?
Well,
right?
they're huge, and fire giants are, I believe, they're the third biggest. So I would assume that head would be at least like 12, 13 feet tall.
Okay.
Yeah, big head.
Oh, right.
But King Morin says that when you do find yourselves capable of performing that task, that he will set his smiths and his masons to constructing you all a tower wherever in the Silver Marches you desire it to be, and staffed with 10 of his finest.
So we get statues made in our honor or something?
They're going to build you a tower, like a place.
Noise.
Nice.
Turn the tower into like a museum, you know?
All
I'll put all my inventions there and showcase everything.
right, everyone. You are welcome to stay in Citadel Felbar as long as you'd like. The complex is open to you. What would y'all like to do?
Where was the next place we needed to go? We needed to head back to
Everlund to get Dandy's stuff and get access to a teleportation circle again.
and then we wanted to teleport to Mirabar so we could get to Xanathar's Keep.
There was also some talk about potentially heading into the Valley of Kedrun to Great Worm Cavern first.
What do we have to do there?
Dandy has some unfinished business to take care of there.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Where's
So
that?
However, since we are here, do we also want to see what knowledge the dwarves have about this stronghold of the fire giants as well, just since we are here?
That's a good idea.
Well, as I mentioned to you earlier, they have limited knowledge of what's going on inside of Iron Slag right now. There is a legendary forge inside of the keep. They know that for certain. Said to be able to craft wondrous materials that are used in the creation of magical items. Aside from that, they know that there is a village of goat people that live on the top of the mountain that Iron Slag resides inside of. These individuals are loyal to the fire giants. However, they are treated more or less like livestock by the fire giants. Not exactly a great deal they've got going on.
makes sense.
Yeah. Aside from that,
So we know We know that there are fire giants looking for something near
Iron
Silvery
Slug.
Moon Pass, near the Hawk's Nest. Was that they said that there was increased activity.
Correct.
So maybe we should take our route of the Vonendad and look for another
Yeah.
piece.
That's a really good idea, Andy. Horace, whoever you are.
Wherever we are. I mean, it's right here,
Yeah.
and it's
that's
on
the
our
big-
way.
That's good, yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay. So you'd all like to head back into Silvery Moon Pass and see if you can find any pieces of the Vonendod there. Is that what I'm getting?
Yeah. See if we can find what it is these fire giants are searching. We are assuming it's another piece of the item, but could also be something else that we don't know about. So
Mm-hmm.
Woohoo! Let's go find some more weapon.
let me look at some right quick too.
Okay. So let's go ahead and get a d20 from here to the crossroads again.
I wanted to do something quickly in
Oh, absolutely.
Citadel.
Go for it.
I just wanted to see if I want to talk to the dwarf smiths and see if they can make regular armor, adamantium armor, adamantine, if they can coat armor. And not do it right now, but just if that's within the technology.
So they say that yes, they can. However, their main source for adamantine up by the Icespire Mountains has been completely blocked off to them by the fire giants. Given access to those mines again, they could probably get you a set built in about a week, about 10 day.
So another reason to go up there.
Well, given 200 gold pieces, I can make 200 gold pieces worth of adamantium.
Really? Yeah.
Any cleric of Morden could do that.
The Forge Cleric things, yeah. I had a Forge Cleric in my Icewind Dale campaign. He just liked to sit in front of piles of gold and make stuff.
Are we sleeping in the Citadel?
Yes, you all would get a long rest at the
Yeah.
Citadel.
Okay, can I see if they have the rod here?
Yeah. Sure.
They seem to have a lot of magic items.
Yeah, and an immovable rod will actually give that a 25% chance. Here at Citadel Adbar, it definitely seems like a dwarf item to have.
Then roll a d4.
Yeah,
Alright,
but
we're
still,
gonna-
you need your $5,000, right?
Right, he would need Latoni would need the 5k gold.
I know.
Right, go ahead and yeah, you can either roll a d100 and look for a 1 to 25, or you can roll a d4 and look for a 1.
It's entirely illogical, but I feel like it's more likely with the D100. So I'm looking for like less than 25.
Yep, under 25. 1 to 25, and they have one here that you may be able to purchase.
Shit. Dang it.
Okay, Horace, so it does appear that it would cost 500 gold over the price of the armor to have the adamantine armor. So if you do have that wealth on you, you all could spend a couple extra days here in Citadel Felbar and have that armor coated in adamantine for you.
Do people want to wait around?
That's fine if there's something you need to do.
Yeah.
How many days?
Just 2 days. They're just going to coat it. They're not
Oh.
constructing full armor for you. They just need to coat it and then let it set.
Yeah, we can spend 2 days, please.
We totally got you.
Would I be able to look for the rod again the next day? Or is it
Unfortunately, 2 days would not be enough time for them to have anything else come through.
I didn't know
Dandy
if
is definitely wandering around the Citadel.
Can we use our Vonendad and see if there's anything within, a 10-mile radius of us?
Absolutely. When you activate the Rod of the Vonendad, you do not sense anything within its radius at the time.
Okay, good to know.
what does it detect?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Their
Latoni
piece
hasn't
of
had too
rod.
much interaction with the Rod of the Vonendad. So the Fire Giants have been, I want to say, the most often interacted with Giants so far. They are searching for something called the Vonendad. They are searching for pieces of it. You all have found out that it is an ancient and powerful magical machine that was created during the time that the Giants were at war with the dragons. I think it was like 500 to 1,000 years ago. But the Fire Giants specifically, are looking to reconstruct that item, that magical machine, and they're looking for pieces of it. The Rod of the Vonendad is a specially attuned magic item sized for giants that kind of is like a little bit of a radar or metal detector for pieces of the Vonendad. When activated using an action, it can sense if there is a piece of the Vonendad within 10 miles of it.
Interesting. Okay, thank you. And the reason I was saying if I could try rolling again was like if I'd have like better luck looking the next day, rather than like if they would have gotten a shipment.
No. Asking around for it, Latoni, they would have been very straightforward with whether or not one of those was in their possession or in the Citadel. Your all reputation is high enough that you wouldn't have to go searching for it. You would simply ask somebody, and they would be able to tell you definitively if it was here or not.
Would they by any chance have a potion maker in here?
Yeah, I'll say that we can roll on the large town alchemist table for that. Okay. So there is a potion of aid, potions of barkskin, potions of animal friendship, potions of levitate, and there are several types of resistance potions. There's potions of resistance to all elemental damage types.
Oh,
How much for the potions of resistance?
Potions of resistance. Let's take a look at our pricing guide, shall we? I'm really glad I started using this. Like, I was having it be different across so many different games, and like just having one solid place, even if the prices are a little bit wonky in some places, just having one solid list to apply across all the games is definitely super helpful. But potions of resistance, 300 gold each. They will sell them to you for half that as you are guests of the Citadel.
Like, what kind of resistances we got? We got like basic resistance. Like, I'm not sure what type. Is it just like I can name it, or?
So all the different elemental types. So that would be force, fire, ice, lightning.
I don't think force is elemental.
I mean, I just mean all the different damage types. We'll just call it across the
I
board.
feel like fire is probably something we will need.
So force, fire, ice, lightning. What else?
Necrotic, radiant.
No, those are.
Yeah, I don't. I said elemental types. I just meant damage types in general. Just the ones that make sense. Like necrotic would be
Fire.
one.
I would
Psychic?
like
Yeah, I
a
don't
fire,
think what you mean
lightning,
though.
I don't think psychic would be one of them. Just like
Okay,
I'm leaving.
I'm
I'm leaving
just-
off radiant
I
as
can't
well.
remember. Hold on.
So force, fire, ice, lightning, necrotic, cold, or that's ice is cold. Rip. What else? Thunder. I feel like I'm missing something. Acid would definitely be in there.
Poison.
Poison would definitely be in there.
I would like one of fire, ice, and lightning.
Okay, 150 each.
Is there enough for another set of fire and ice?
Dandy's poor.
What?
Let's check and see what we have in the group and go from there. Because frankly, something like that would help the play if you had it.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm trying to get it.
Yeah, we got
Fuck's sake.
3,600 gold in the group loot.
That is not a small amount of gold.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
so do you want one apiece?
Yeah, we should get 30. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I think we should all get one yen. How long do they last?
An hour, I believe.
How long does the potion of levitation last for, and how much does it cost?
Potion of levitation. Let me go ahead and look that up. Potion of levitation. It's not listed here. What's the spell level of levitation? Second, thank you. We'll price it at the same price as a second level spell spell scroll. Essentially what it is, just anyone can use it.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here.
So 120.
Okay.
It's a bargain.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just hold on, let me do some quick math right quick. There is one. Did Wyatt buy his own, or does he want to purchase his from stuff?
No. Wyatt's purchasing his own.
Okay, so assuming one of fire and one of light, was it one of fire and one of lightning for each of the remaining party members?
What do we need lightning for?
I just thought it's like the second most common damage type.
That
And there was a level-
that dragon that attacked the tower was breathing lightning
I
at
was
you.
gonna say,
Oh.
we got crosswise with a blue dragon at one point, so it seems
Right.
like a decently solid option to snag.
Another point of order there, Latoni. I believe it was within a few days of the party, or it was early on in the party's adventure. They came across a cloud giant by the name of Zephyros. He was flying around in a tower and was friendly to the party. A little bit craven, a little bit crazy, but overall friendly to the group, and offered the group a ride on his floating tower, taking them towards Tribor. While en route to Tribor, Zephyros' tower was attacked by a dragon that was extremely powerful. More so than even an ancient blue dragon would be. Messed them up pretty bad. It seemed almost to ignore the party, seeking more to punish Zephyros for helping you all than anything else, almost dismissing the group outright as insignificant. But it destroyed Zephyros' tower's means of transportation and left you all stranded there. After that, Zephyros refused to help you all. But that encounter did tell you all that there is an extremely powerful blue dragon involved in what's going on with the dragons, and that she does not necessarily like the fact that you all are interfering.
So other than the dragon, have they interacted with lightning at all?
Not particularly.
Not really.
Do light sockets exist? Because Dandy would 100% poke them.
Charles?
Charles?
Say again?
Do light sockets exist?
Light
Have you done it yet?
Light sockets like an outlet.
Oh!
Yeah, I'd rather
Dandy
just
wants to
get.
know
So-
how the electricity is in
Uh,
it.
So
I'm
it,
just a.
it's
Oh,
okay. So
If you
the
want
answer,
the lightning
short,
resistance, freaking get it.
the
Yeah.
short answer
Okay.
is yes, but it's technical because you see, it runs off of magic energy.
Right. It's like, well, I have this box that I cast a lightning bolt into.
Freaking love it so much.
All right, so
Yeah,
everyone got
Dandy
two.
is naturally lightning resistant, so she's not going to begrudge someone else getting a bottled version.
Yeah, well, I'm just going. What I just did was took out the money where all of us, with the exception of Wyatt, can get 2 potions of resistance of some sort.
I got my own also.
Oh, so I
So
got
I
300.
I look towards Luna. I'm like, how do you think I got Luna moving like this? Runs off something.
And it's just like
we're gonna
constantly
talk
giving off
later,
a
you and
static
me.
charge.
Yeah, I just got 2 fire resistance because it feels like it'll be more common, and also I have absorb elements if I need it.
So I have a quick question. Could I theoretically make something that would allow me to, kind of like a fan, that would allow me to, while I'm levitating, move
Ah.
directionally?
I would say that if you used one of your what are they called? Not your infusions. Don't you get to make like little random items?
Magical tinkering, yeah.
Yeah, so if you use magical tinkering, then yes, you would be able to create something like that. Like a propeller.
Okay.
Could also just tie a rope to yourself and give it to Luna.
That's an interesting idea, actually.
I mean, isn't that what levitation is? You become a balloon.
Pretty much.
Basically. That's interesting. Leave Luna on the ground, but then if Luna goes down, I lose my method of moving, though.
That is true. I find that
That's
steel
when-
defenders don't go down very often, though.
That's
True.
when Dandy picks it up.
Ties it to beef.
Less beef.
Hmm.
All right. So,
Yeah.
do you all? I mean, since we're rolling shops, do you want to roll the large town shops for the rest of them too, just to see what they've got?
If y'all want to, might as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we really have that much money, though?
I'm still looking.
Yeah, I guess you wouldn't really be able to buy anything really nice with only 3K.
Yeah,
I still
it's
want
a little less than 3K now since we bought some of the potions of resistance, just cause.
So the armorer has a lot of different types of armor. Obviously, there are various +1 armors here, but of course those are pretty hefty on the price tag. Various +1 armors and shields is what they've got in the armor. Same thing with the weapons, various +1 and +2 weapons here. We already did the alchemist. So-
How much is a +2 weapon? I imagine it's like
+2
insane. No, I shouldn't even ask. Never mind.
It's gonna be pricey, yeah. We'll check just in case.
Yeah, never mind.
+2 weapon is 4K.
Yeah.
The scribe. We have a scroll of false life, a scroll of rope trick, a scroll of command. There is a scroll of dispel magic.
That's useful.
So dispel magic is the third level spell, right?
Oh wait, I forgot.
We don't. Well, we had to use a scroll for it last time.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yep.
So spell scroll, dispel magic's third level, right?
We don't have dispel magic. I have dispel magic.
Oh,
Thought so.
well, okay.
We just
All
used
right
the last scroll was one that we found. So
Yeah, yeah, noticed that.
Thought Wyatt doesn't have dispel magic.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
I just wanted to. I wanted to use a scroll because spell slots are
Yes.
iffy when people go down.
Right.
Okay. So they have the Dispel Magic. It would be 200 if you wanted it. Then there
That's worth
is
getting.
Dandy's favorite. There is a Scroll of Sending.
Yes.
Oh.
Are there any more giant strength things?
No, there was no potions of giant strength in the shop.
Okay.
How expensive is one of those?
Potion of giant strength?
Yeah.
He wants to know how much I wasted.
Yeah.
Those won't. That
It doesn't
that
hurt as bad if you don't
potion
know.
won't be listed.
It is not listed.
I have a quick question. If a spell like Fireball, for example, was cast into an area, but you're flying like 20 feet above where the spell was hit, would you still get hit by the spell?
Well, no. I mean, if you're 25 feet in the air and it's a 20-foot radius, that would be a no.
Okay, so you kind of like think of it as like a circle explosion. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Which
a
is
sphere.
which is why you cast like a fog cloud at like 7 or 8 feet above the ground, so it's all in the giants' faces, and they don't know what they're doing, and we
That-
attack their knees.
That is kind of genius.
Mm-hmm.
Except we don't have anyone to cast fog cloud, so too bad for us.
I could do that. I can
Reverend's
cast
just
that.
all, I'm trying my best.
Okay, and then there is the last scroll in here is a scroll of comprehend languages.
I actually have that one as a ritual.
Awesome. And finally, the wand right. Do we have anyone that even uses wands anymore?
Everyone can use wands.
Okay, cool. There's a wand of burning hands.
One's refresh, right?
They do.
Ooh, okay.
I reckon that one's going to be expensive though.
Hmm.
He goes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So there are several wands here. There is a wand of enemy detection for 4K. There is a wand of fireballs for 32,000.
Hmm.
Heist episode, anyone? No. There is a wand of secrets. That one's 1,500. And there are wands of the war mages, +1 and +2.
I'm assuming they can't like craft wands for us.
No.
Like if there was like a certain spell that I wanted to have made into a wand.
Unfortunately not. The crafting of wands is not something that can just be done at most places. The only places that might be able to pull things like that off would be like maybe Luskin with the Arcane Brotherhood tower there, or places like that that are just like magic is our thing type places.
Dandy's sad she can't just fight people for stuff. The South is so uncivilized.
All right, everyone. That is all the shops. Any other orders of business at Citadel Felbar before you head southward towards the pass?
Nope.
None that I can think of.
We're good.
So, all right, everybody. So let's
Didn't
go
we
ahead and
have-
take our break.
Didn't we have some items to sell?
I do have a wizard spell book that we collected, but
Silvery Moon would
I
probably be a
got-
better place to sell that.
I got a feeling that
Oh.
Silver Moon, Water Deep Plus, and somewhere like that probably be better to sell it at.
Yeah. Everland,
Oh.
especially.
I thought we already sold that at Silver Moon. Remember that?
No. I didn't think we needed to possibly. I didn't want them to try to say, "Oh, this case, take it off of our hands."
Yeah, a potion of mind reading, a hat of disguise, a ring of exhibition.
Oh.
I don't know if we. Oh, ring of exhibition is actually not bad, I guess. But
I wanted the hat of disguise.
yes, you wanted that. Balance is being used.
All right, everyone. But yeah, either way, Silvery Moon or Everland would be a much better place to sell items. So,
Alright, so
yep, let's go ahead and take our break, and when we come back, we will get back on the road. All right, so we are back, leaving from Citadel Felbar, heading back towards the south. let's just go ahead and do one d20 roll between here and the Hawk's Nest and see what happens.
Let's do this thing.
Who's holding on to our golden lions?
Well, that's either really good or really bad. I don't know which.
Horace, do you
Brevin,
have them?
why don't you go ahead and roll a d100?
I don't necessarily have them.
I was just thinking Dandy shouldn't, or she'll treat them like pets. For 1 hour every 7 days.
72.
I'll hold on to one of them. Do they both come out at the same time, or do you choose?
No,
one
one or both. Doesn't have to be both.
Yeah, I'll hold on to one then.
All right, I'll hold on to the other.
Brevin, can you roll a d4 for me?
I am wagering that on rolling that 20 was bad. Or at least eventful.
Sounds like some enemies are spawning.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, it's a
they
D100
could be
of how many there are.
allies.
It's a D100 of how many there are, and then it's a 4 to determine which kind.
that would be a
Totally not the
d6.
other.
75 land ablets.
Yes.
72 fire
32
giants.
goblins.
It should be interesting. Okay. Everybody's passive perceptions, please. And let's get a marching order too. You also have your. How are we traveling now? Is it just the horses now?
I think so.
And
Well,
the
we
wagon.
have the wagon as well.
The wagon. Okay.
Horse and dog.
Okay.
I'll be on the
passive
wagon
is
with them.
14, but I
And-
always have advantage.
And E is
Yeah.
riding Luna.
If you have advantage, that's the +5, I think, right?
What's everyone's passive?
I don't mind.
Mine's a
14.
13.
I think
13.
Wyatt has the highest. So Wyatt, what's yours?
16 with the advantage, but like Latoni said, I believe it just counts as well as 5, so it'd be 21.
Just 21, no big deal.
Yeah, no big. Okay. Let me go ahead and.
Oh, that means you get woken up by whispers. That sounds terrible.
Oh my god, I love that. I just found out that when I'm flipping images, like, because sometimes I need a map that I've used before, but it's loaded with all kinds of stuff. But I'm a stickler for directions, so since you all are heading southwest right now, I need your tokens to be pointing that direction. But I found out that I can just select everything and then just do flip vertical, flip horizontal, and it does all the work for me. Sorry, those are the things that I get to nerd out about.
Is it possible for Dandy to be riding beef next to the wagon, bothering Brevin?
Yeah. I don't see why not.
I
So
wasn't sure if it was like a narrow.
I'd probably
or
be in the
anything.
wagon tinkering with stuff.
I think our
There's smoke
marching
coming out
order
of the
should be,
wagon.
I think
Oh,
our
there's little,
marching
little
order-
sparks coming out of the wagon.
I was just gonna say, I think our marching order should be the most perceptive in the front, the second perceptive in the back, and then.
Yeah,
the
but
kind
we're
of
also
every-
people, and we're probably going to want to talk to each other and like actually be, characters. So
No, yeah, but if we have a marching order, which is what he's asking for.
yes, and I understand that, but my character is not going to just. Okay, everyone, how well can we see? All right, let's walk in that order.
right. So let me ask this: who's in the front? That's really all I need to know. Who's leading? Who's in the lead?
Probably
Or
Horse
no one else is. I mean, I don't care.
or Dandy.
I'll be in the.
Dandy said she was back by the cart, hanging out and talking to people.
Yeah, so
Yes.
probably Horse would be in front.
Yeah,
Horace,
I don't
are
know
you?
what-
I'll be in front.
All right, everyone. So, as you're all making your way through the hills, you made it pretty far, considerable distance into the into the Silvery Moon Pass. When out ahead of you, Wyatt, you'd be the first to notice a lot of gruff, deep voices arguing with each other. And every now and then, a blow landing. Sounds like they're arguing. You would hear this well out ahead of being able to see it. Be around a bend over a few hills. But you can certainly hear the sound. And you all have heard similar voices before. Sentences are short, halted. Not too much of a use of big words, if any. But you can hear it around the corner. What do y'all want to do?
Do we understand the language?
Does anybody speak Giant?
I don't.
I don't believe anyone does.
I do not.
Oh wait, I speak Giant.
Okay. Latoni, you would hear, once Wyatt pointed out the sounds to you and you really begin to focus on it, you hear what sounds like 5 different voices arguing with one another. And they're saying, it's that way. No, it's that way. No, we've been heading in the right direction. No, we need to turn around. And then somebody lands a blow and says, ha, 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 you turned around. And it goes on like that for a while.
Okay. Okay. Should we try sneaking up on them? I hear some. They're definitely giants. Up ahead. I could aid if we need to try and be as quiet as possible.
I think the giants need a few arrows in their head.
Should we do that stealthily?
I don't care too much about stealth, but I do care about distance.
So, give me just a
how
moment.
close-
Are you
close can we
approaching with your horses? Or on foot? How are you approaching?
Well, if we know that they're ahead of us, we'd probably go on foot.
Anyone taking a horse? Or a dog?
No, I'll leave them behind.
No, beef is too valuable to risk to a giant. Charles, you go first.
Ow! Where is it? Where is it? We need it.
Charles looks at you like, so you know how you're talking about like that electrical stuff? Yeah, I'm not gonna help you with that anymore. And just turns around, and keeps walking.
You realize she was doing it to try and electrocute herself, right?
Okay, everybody. So I'm going to place you on a map now. You know which direction they're all in. Your position on the map currently is not your position in general. You can position yourself as far away as you'd like on the map. We'll say that there's a hill. Here, I'll go ahead and put you on so I can describe as I tell you. As you can see.
Because distance does matter.
Right. So they are at the far corner down here. We'll say that the northeastern corner of this map is a large hill. So you will not get a view on them unless you are past this line here. This is the only way that you can get a view on them. If you are past... Where is it? This line. That would be the top of the hill.
Is it me or is the map like super dark?
Is it? My bad. It might be dark time.
Me and Daylight.
And daylight mode. Here we go. Back going.
Oh.
Getting fixed. There we go.
Yep, perfect.
Ah. So
Before we got close, I would have cast this upon myself as a ritual.
You all can do whatever preparation you would like. As long as it does not directly affect them in any way, you can prepare however you'd like. You have thoroughly gotten the jump on them. They are not aware of your presence.
Can I?
I mean, I would totally just start shooting at them from range.
Start blast.
But not yet.
Yeah, but when I'm ready, I'd totally start doing that.
Could I see any of them yet? Like any of them in line of sight at all?
If you, you would know their location, and you would get to the top of the hill that I pointed out, and you'd be able to see over that.
Oh, Okay, so if I wait, so if I was like right up here, then I could see them.
Correct.
The other
I don't
direction, think.
understand. We have to back up to
Right.
see them?
As
Okay.
I mentioned earlier, that your position on the map right now is not your position in actuality. That's just where everyone
Oh.
was. So technically, everyone is starting up somewhere north of this point. I'm dragging everybody up there on purpose. Or not.
Sorry.
So
Yeah,
yes, in order to see them, you need to be past that line.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would want to try and do that sneakily, just to get a quick view at them.
Okay.
Or actually,
Roll a stealth check at advantage.
1 second.
I can do this if it helps.
Yeah, roll 20. Okay, there we go. Ooh, okay.
Could we have said we triggered the Vonin dot to see if they just have one on them?
Absolutely. And triggering the Vonin dot from your position at the pass, there would be no ping.
Okay.
Okay, so now we'll say, if this helps, I hope it does, if you are on the map itself, you are over the rise of the hill. If you are in the brown, just colored area, that is the other side of the hill.
Okay.
So we got to get to here before we see them. That correct?
It helps.
that?
Thank you.
I said we need to get to here before we can see them.
Yes, you need, exactly, right where you are, Wyatt. That is where you need to get before you can see them.
Got it.
Yeah, I would want to go like right here. Yeah, I'd want to go like right over here and try and lay down and get a good view on them.
Okay. Make a stealth check at advantage.
Oh gods. I'm not casting this well, and I don't know if that's gonna be a mistake. Okay, we're good.
You believe you are sufficiently hidden.
And then, yep, when I get here, I am going to cast Hunter's Mark on this guy.
As soon as you cast something that affects them, that will begin combat. So go ahead and hold up until everyone else decides what they want to do.
Okay.
Riven would probably just kind of want to ideally lay back somewhere where he can lay down spells and covering fire.
Okay.
Maybe we should we spread out a bit so we have one group over
I was gonna go over this side. That was my plan, anyways.
They are continuing to argue. They are very clearly lost.
How high up are these little cliffs?
Only about 5 to 6 feet. Difficult terrain to go up. Nothing to go down.
Would it be difficult terrain if I have a climbing speed?
No.
Okay. Would it be difficult terrain for these guys, or can they just like jump?
They can literally just step up onto it.
Okay.
So no difficult terrain for them.
Yeah, so for me, it would, if you plan on casting Hunter's Mark, I would just be like planning to shoot a crossbow at them.
So you all will have surprise. So let's go ahead and roll initiative. Is everyone done with their pre-combat actions?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to. Let me back.
Is anyone gonna bless?
I got problems.
I have a greater question. I know we're all just really gunning these guys. What's the point? They're just arguing. They just want to go wherever they're going.
Because giants are hurting people, and
Did these
there's
giants
no giants.
hurt people?
Probably they're not smart, which means they probably just eat whatever looks tasty.
We hurt people.
I was gonna
That's
say, yeah,
water for us?
there's plenty of people who aren't smart.
But
Based
the
upon
giants
our previous-
will probably like see people as something that they could eat, which is the problem.
Have you spoken
Even if
to
they
them?
didn't.
Have you spoken to them?
I haven't. I can't speak to them. That's why I'm asking the people that can't speak to them
Mhm.
if they know. Are they bad giants? Are they
I
good
can
giants?
speak to them. I can speak to them. They are giants, therefore I want to kill them. I have spent my entire life murdering giants, and I will continue to do so.
So, real quick, can anybody else speak giant?
Not yet.
Preferably,
The moment I
No.
cannot speak it, but I
Brevin
can understand it with. I
Brevin
can't
can
speak it,
pretend
but I
to.
can understand it.
You can understand it?
Oh,
I ritual cast comprehend languages on myself.
Fantastic. So, among their blaming each other, one of them says, "Why don't we go back and ask that village back there?" And the other one would say something along the lines of, "We could if you hadn't eaten them all."
Yeah, they've ate people.
Oh, okay. Well, that changes things.
Exactly. Unfortunately, most giants are not very friendly.
I mean, we've
Except
met
for,
the
like,
friendly giant.
yes, well,
You did
they're the
meet one,
high
yeah.
intellect type. They're the high intellect type giant, though. They're
oh, yeah.
above eating people.
Right, they would just throw rocks at them.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh
It depends.
gosh.
It largely depends on their type, for the most part. But
Are we rolling for things?
I mean, unless you just want the giants to keep acting over and over again.
Because I can't.
Okay.
Oh. Highlight token. There we go.
ouch.
One, two, three, four.
At least I'm above that one guy who got a negative number.
Oof, that sucks.
Everybody in
Do
there?
advantage on initiative.
You gotta get Ian here.
Charles, we got Wyatt. Dandy, we got Tony, we got Corvus, we got Brevin. Fantastic.
Brevin, you okay?
Is there a mechanical dog and and Steve?
Steve, thank you. Totally forgot about Steve. He would not have been received well in Citadel Adbar. It's a good thing we forgot about him.
He waited outside.
Yeah, right.
This is our spooky boy, Steve.
No, remember we already just dealt with the disguise for Steve, so.
Oh,
it's all
right.
good.
You all have thoroughly disguised him.
We also have the hat of disguise if he needs to live.
Can I just say I
Borrow.
really hope it's like one of those big nose mustache glasses disguise kits.
No, it's like a what is it? A Clark Kent kind of disguise. He just needs glasses.
He just puts on a pair of glasses.
Also,
No.
Steve now has a magical weapon because I'm buffing his weapon right now.
All right, is it a +1?
Yeah.
Cool. I will adjust his sheet accordingly. Okay. All right, everyone. So,
Actually, could I have been right? Could I have been right here without being seen? Sorry.
you got a 23 on your stealth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where would you like to go?
Right there. Sorry.
Yep, no
forgot
problem.
to pick.
Okay, everyone. The 5 of them are down there arguing amongst each other, shouting, slapping. They have not noticed you. You will have a full round of surprise on these 5 hill giants. Charles, you're up first.
All right, I'll go here. Does it take any movement to go prone?
Not to drop prone, no.
All right. I will go to here. Actually, might not even have a ranged attack, honestly.
They can throw rocks.
They can.
Well, not necessarily. I can.
Oh yeah, you've fought these things before. You've watched them just reach down and pull hunks of earth up and throw them at you.
Alright, well, I will.
Throne's a good defense against that, though.
Yeah, that's what I was
Disadvantage on
thinking.
ranged attacks, yeah.
So I'll go prone and cast my free hex onto the nearest one.
Okay.
And here comes some attack rolls.
He stops arguing. "Ugh, I don't feel good. 12 does not hit. Oh no, wait, that's
I
what am I looking at? That's not
that-
it.
that's yeah.
That's Steve's initiative. I know what I'm doing, I swear.
Here we go.
That
Oh,
certainly
Wow.
hits. The first one
Okay.
strikes me. Oh, something bit me.
Here comes damage numbers.
Okay,
That's awesome.
19 and 23. Nice. Jeez, huge
And-
damage.
And since, you know, I'm just gonna action search for fun because, you know, I want to see how much damage I can do in one turn. So here
God.
comes another 2 attacks.
They're all just looking at him as he's just like getting filled with arrows, like tilting their head in confusion. It's like, you don't look too good, one of them says.
I'm assuming both of those hit.
Yeah.
Bad hex rolls.
So 26, 39, 48 points. Wow.
That's almost 100. No, I think I did do over. Did I do over 100?
No, not quite. Close, but not quite.
Quite close. Cool.
I think you did like 90.
Alright, that's it for my turn.
That's it? Are you sure?
Well,
Wyatt, you're up.
Yeah.
Also, poor hex rolls. Dang, it could have been like.
Right? One's on
yeah,
the hex
Like
roll.
the amount more.
I could have gotten a lot more.
All right. Wyatt, you're up. The Giants are all just kind of looking at their friend who just got absolutely pummeled, and they're all like poking at him, like, you're bleeding.
How far can I get? 30. As a yeah, why don't we do that? As a bonus action, I will cast Spirit Shroud,
Spirit Shroud. Is that Spirit Guardians?
4th level. No, this is
Okay.
Spirit Shroud. And then as an action, I will pull out a Holy Molotov and hold it for the first thing that gets within 60 feet.
Holy
So
Molotov.
it'll be disadvantage because it's 2060.
Got it. E, back from the dead.
Yet again. He is going to move as close as he can. 5, 10, 25, 30, 40, 50, 60. He's just dashing this time, so he'll be in action.
Okay. Steve is going to step forward, get his longbow out, and take a shot at the wounded one.
I just realized that we should give the magical arrows to Steve.
He does do a lot of longbowing.
I'm just gonna say I give the 9 plus 2 arrows to him, so that if we ever do run into a situation where ranged combat against magical resistance, he can use those.
Okay.
Yeah, these guys aren't magic resistant though.
No, they are not. They just have a lot of hit points, which Charles just ate through. Alright, so it strikes him. One of the arrows strikes him, and he looks down at it, and he's like, I don't think it's a mosquito, guys. Pulls it out, looks around. Dandy. Those are shrubs.
Oh, can I hide in the shrubs?
I would say
Like my dash?
no.
Power slide?
No, it would be what we would quote unquote call visual cover, not physical cover. But they don't differentiate that
Oh, no,
in
no.
5e.
I'm
So
okay with it. Oh, okay. Like more hiding. Is that like I'm okay with visual cover? Is that okay with you?
since we are still in the surprise round, I'll say that you can go ahead and make a stealth check and see if you can get there.
Neat. Okay.
I feel like she could have done that before the surprise, no?
It would have been risky going out there in the open like that.
Not like a.
Hmm.
Dandy,
Mhm.
you can
Oh,
get
this
behind that bush, and you feel sufficiently hidden.
I thought it was this bush. My bad.
Oh, that bush would have been definite.
No, I want to be closer to them so I can actually attack and hurt somebody next round.
Do y'all like my new phrase?
Sufficiently?
You feel sufficiently hidden?
If you feel sufficiently
Oh.
hidden. I heard it, I was just choosing to ignore it.
Okay. Tony.
Yep. Okay. I'm gonna run all the way over here, and hopefully be slightly visually covered from a couple of them.
Okay, you can take a hide action. Oh, you said you used your dash, right?
I dashed. Yeah, I dashed. And then I'm just going to reach into my bag and let a rat run towards this guy.
Okay.
Yeah. Wait. Do I want to? Yeah, run towards this guy, and he's and I cast Hunter's Mark.
Okay.
And that is my turn.
Horus.
I take the opposite of a stealth action, and I have the spirit guardians going on around me. So there's a big cloud of guys banging anvils, and I move up next to here, next to Steve, and I'm trying to be big, and I'm clanging, and I take a dodge action.
All right.
So that everyone should throw things at me.
Yeah, so all 5 of them look around at Horus now, and they look up at him like, oh, pretty. All the shiny and the gongs and the light. Okay.
Oh, you monsters! That's it.
One of them points at another and says, he's talking about you. Brevin.
Okay, I am going to move. And 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Need to measure right quick. I think it's still a little. Okay, I think I'm going to hold off because I'll probably get into range eventually. And I'm going to take a few shots of Eldritch Blast at... Well, there's 2 things to do. First thing first. Form of Dread. D10 plus 7. Ooh, so 17 extra hit points. Not
Nice.
bad. And I'm going to, and I'm going to take 2 damage on.
Okay.
Got 1.
14 hits.
Okay, and I'm using that at the most damaged one there, and I'm swapping out the damage for necrotic so I can do D10.
Okay. So that is how much total? 17 and 14?
Well, no, it'll be a 14 plus 6.
Okay.
20.
So 20.
And now one more shot.
Pick a different one.
The one up ahead, then.
All right. They all kind of look over at him. Eyes get wide, confused, like, still barely even comprehending what's happening. 20's a hit.
I'm pretty sure the 20. That's 7 damage.
Okay.
That was impressive, but let me get just my hit point. And I think that's it for the time being.
Okay. Brings us back to Charles. We are out of surprise. The giants, all four of the remaining, looking down at their dead buddy, littered with arrows and a big gaping hole in his face where Brevin smacked him with an Eldritch Blast. And they all just kind of look up, like, "Hey!"
One's next gets targeted by my hex, and here comes some more attacks.
D&D combat is really intimidating when you think about it. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's just like all happening so fast.
The first one's a hit, second one's a miss.
Yep.
Still huge damage.
31.
31
Yeah.
indeed.
This is what I do. This is what I specialize in, single target damage.
The way that blood just fountains up off the token.
Mm-hmm.
Charles hit something important there, didn't he?
Where is it?
See, I told you these arrows work.
I forget I have all these cool effects I could mess around with. Bleh. So most of them are just set on automatic. All right. Anything else from Charles?
That
I
is
think
it.
he said that was it.
Wyatt.
Can you hear me?
Nope, we're good.
Hey.
Okay.
I didn't get to use my held action last turn because nobody came close enough. So I'm gonna get closer and finally use this. I'm gonna throw a holy Molotov with disadvantage because they're really,
Okay.
really far away.
18 hits.
18. 2 burning radiant damage.
Okay. And 1d4 at the start of each of its turns from here forward.
Yep. And then as a bonus action, I will also enact my Eldritch Maul.
Ooh.
I know, right? I'm gonna be playing with that way too much now. Okay. Eastern.
He is going to swoop in closer and start providing the help action to anyone who wants to attack this.
Okay. So, on their turn, I am going to give them a DC 13 int save to avoid... Oh, not that. Damn. To avoid auto-aggroing the distracting dwarf. Perfect. Okay. So this one first. He got a -2. It's just like, look at him! Look at him! And he reaches down and he grabs a chunk of earth up out of the ground and begins charging towards everyone. And then hurls a stone at Horus.
Oh,
At
no.
disadvantage, Horus, it's a 13.
That misses.
Horus nimbly dodges out of the way of a boulder. Brings us to the next hill giant, who is going to make that same DC 13 int save and fail. He will also charge forward and hurl a rock at Horus.
Did he not want to put the fire out?
Nope. Too dumb.
Oh, nice.
He gets a nat 1 on his second throw, Horus.
Oh, anyone could avoid that.
All right. Brings us to Steve. Both hit. 6 and 9 for 15 points. Dandy, you're up.
All right. I'm gonna
thank you, Wyatt.
Run in. I'm gonna hit him with an axe. Oh, I'm gonna rage. I'm totally raging.
Okay.
Sorry.
14 hits.
Yes.
He's like completely focused on Horus, but as soon as you strike him, he looks down at you. He's like, "Hey, that hurt." Full damage.
Sorry, it was. And a D6 for the storm aura. It goes off with my rage.
15 points, not bad.
Dandy goes twice, right? Yeah, she goes twice.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had a moment, sorry. I was trying to figure out what I was playing.
23 certainly hits.
Yes. Boo.
Okay.
And I guess that's it.
Okay. Brings us to this one down here, who is going to attempt the same save as the rest of them. Gets a 10, fail. Still completely enamored by Horus's display of light and sound. Horus, at disadvantage, it's only a 13 to hit you with that boulder. Horus up there
Strategy.
doing the work. Yep. Latoni.
Woo. I will. Yeah, I can't reach that guy, so I'll run over here because the guy that I hunter's marked can't get close enough. So I'll go right here, and then I'll just start swiping at this guy.
All right. He looks down towards you. 26 certainly hits.
That's 8 slashing. 11.
11 does not hit. He lifts his foot up and out of your way just in time and looks down. He's like, "Stop it!"
Then a short sword.
22 hits.
For 7 damage. Now it's my turn. I'll start.
As he is up on 1 foot, and you stab him, Latoni, he made a dex save and rolled a nat 1. So as he lifts up his foot, he's like, "Stop it!" You reach out and you jab at the foot that's still planted, and he's like, "Ah!" and falls flat on his ass.
Oh, it's always prone now. Nice.
Horus, you're up.
And I'm going to.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm actually gonna try and start making fun of this guy. 'Cause I want to get his attention because I'm hunter's marking him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what? You're insulting him, calling him ugly and whatnot.
I'm making like a little dance and putting like an L on my forehead and like.
All right. He looks at you. Hey! You've definitely gotten his attention. All right, Horus, you're up.
Okay, I don't want to, but I'm going to dash down to Latoni.
Okay.
That's my full 60. Okay, that's it. But now the Spirit Guardians are
nice.
around him.
We get you a Spirit
They're 15
Guardians.
feet from me.
We decided that its default is too big, right?
Yeah.
Better. Okay. What do you
A
think?
20-foot radius, if I remember correctly.
I think it's 15.
15? Okay. A little bit smaller.
Oh, how rude of me.
Okay, there we go.
Oh no. I just want to say it. There.
Okay, yep, 15 feet. Yep, cool. All right. That brings us to Brevin.
It appears to me as if these three giants in the lead are of each other.
Or what?
It appears as if a 20-foot sphere would hit these three giants, correct?
Seems accurate. I'll measure.
I mean, the three up ahead.
Yep.
Okay, I'd like
Would
to set
indeed.
one where I'm not going to catch one of my allies.
Oh, that might be a little trickier.
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah, I think...
Listen, Dandy's tough. She can take it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
but-
is no way to get all three of them and not one of your friends. So you can get the two... You can get these two. That seems like your safe bet to get two of them and not everybody. Or if Dandy really doesn't care, you can get all three of them and her in the blast.
How would it reach all three of them, even if it does hit Dandy?
You also might smoke E again.
Was
know?
it a 20-foot range? Or-
Yeah,
or
you know,
30?
Dandy might... Sorry, let me get an actual measure out. Dandy might be just out of range.
Yeah.
What are you
Yeah, that's
casting?
what I was
Fireball?
No, I don't have Fireball, but I do have Shatter.
Shatter, okay. Let me get an actual marker out and put it down.
Because it's not a 20-foot radius, it's just a 10-foot radius. It's a 20-foot total diameter.
10-foot radius.
Oh,
Yeah.
That changes. Yeah, sorry. I think we were all thinking of Fireball, so that's much smaller.
Yeah. So I could catch those two at least without catching
Yeah.
two in the middle.
You can
without
get
catching
two
the
without
other.
catching any of your friends easily.
yeah. That's
Okay.
why I was confused.
Yeah, I thought we were looking at a
You
Fireball.
said it could, when it could reach.
Yeah,
all
I'll catch
three.
those two in the middle in that case.
Right here?
Yeah.
Okay. Con saves.
They got to make 16.
You got it.
They may be better off of doing this one than the other side.
Go and roll out the damage. Where'd our music go?
Large numbers. Or decently large.
Oh, damn. Yeah, that's good. Okay. So for 32.
Upcast at
Above
4th
average
level
for
because I
every
have
roll.
to.
One fail, one success. Boom.
Still not bad distributing it amongst two of them.
Definitely not. Okay. That brings us down to... Brevin, is there anything else you'd like to do?
I think that'll be it for the time being.
Okay. Brings us to this hill giant who Latoni has insulted. He is quite offended. And he can get there. He does take the Spirit Guardian's damage when he enters the space. Damage on that horse?
Great Garden's rough terrain as well.
Okay. That was his...
It should have come up when I cast it.
Yeah, I don't think he can get there. No, he would be able to just get there. He wouldn't be able to move anymore, though. So Spirit Guardian's damage is up here.
He threw the spell description of the spell.
I think it was like 13.
Could be
Yep, there it is. It's all the way up at the top. It is 13. Okay. And Latoni, it is going to say, "You're a loser," and give the L symbol on his own head before he brings up his great club and swings it at you twice.
Mhm.
It is a 10 to hit on the first one, and an 11 on the second.
Yeah, I just jump around, still having the L on my forehead, sticking out my tongue. I become
Alright.
I become like a smaller version of him.
Oh no.
As
Alright, Charles, you're up.
So I'm a little annoyed now because he's prone, so I have disadvantage on the person I have Hex on. So I will reluctantly start targeting this one for the time being.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh.
but that
Oh, I did on that one. Dang.
unfortunately I don't have the extra hex damage, which could have been a lot more damage.
So what's the total?
It's right there. It's 10, 20, 26.
The sharpshooter did not double though.
Sharpshooter doesn't double, it's a set
Oh, it doesn't?
damage.
That's unfortunate. Okay.
Oh my god, if Sharpshooter double on a crit, oh my gosh.
That'd be crazy.
Okay. God, it's like the bigger the token, the bigger the blood spurt they make.
makes sense.
And let's see, Luna. Now that people have gotten into the thick of it. Do. Luna will come up alongside Dandy to support her.
Okay. Wyatt.
Go team.
Yeah, I can get through.
Eventually, these guys are going to score a hit, and it'll get serious.
You can
Wyatt's
flank-
gonna jump off there and land on this one.
Okay.
I was gonna say you can flank with us.
It's already prone. Already has advantage.
Yeah, I also think you got. Yeah, I think
Uh-oh.
you guys got it. Start working on the next one. Here we go.
Oof.
10.
That one.
That one. Yeah.
As a bonus action, I will grapple him. Not actually giving him the grappled status, just holding onto him. I'm
Okay,
gonna
got
hug
it,
his
got it.
ankle. 14. I'm sure he's gonna just carry me around.
He does get a 17 on that.
Yep.
Shakes you off.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else from Wyatt?
Nope.
All right. E.
I'm under the belief that obviously Charles, Luna, and Danny need help. Decides to give them whoever attacks it next the help action over here.
Okay.
Because he must properly supervise.
Got it. Okay. This one here in front of Dandy, the one that E is distracting, is going to give one Great Club attack to Dandy and one to Luna. Dandy, it is a 15 to hit.
Miss.
Luna, ooh, a 20
I would hit.
for 18 bludgeoning.
Okay.
Brings us to the one that is prone over here. He is going to... Yeah, he is going to get up.
Said it was 18 damage?
18. 18 bludgeoning. Okay. He's going to swing his Great Club once at Horus and once at Latoni. Horus, it's only a 12 to hit you. Latoni is a 23.
I want. Yeah, that hits.
Okay. 16 bludgeoning.
Ooh. I'm fine though.
So,
Interception? Okay. 23.
interception. So, a d10. Did it roll?
Yeah, we got a 6.
Okay, a 6 plus my proficiency, so a 9. So take 9 off that.
Nice. Latoni only takes 5. Or, sorry, 7. Math.
Oh, sorry. What happened? So.
Horus intercepted. You only take 7
Your
bludgeoning.
shield up, and
Oh.
it deflected the club somewhat from hitting you.
Thank you.
right. That is going to bring us over to Steve, who's going to start closing in and take 2 longbow shots. And miss twice. Good job, Steve. Dandy, you're up.
Right. Dandy is going to continue trying to carve this guy's chest plate out,
As one does.
as one does.
26 is a hit.
Yes. With lightning damage. So 11 altogether. I'm going to do it again.
Right. That's a hit.
Oh, did the
What?
guy who stood up take his
He
13
did
damage?
not. Thank you for reminding me, Horace. Let's go ahead and get that off. Wisdom save first. He does fail miserably. Okay. Dandy, 7. Okay, he is badly hurt, but he is still standing.
All right, I'm going to spend the everyone else's turns trying to get my axe out of his chest.
All right. Next hill giant is going to take a step up to Wyatt and start a swing in his great club. Wyatt, the first is a 21 to hit
That hits.
for 18 bludgeoning. He then brings it around again, and it's a 19 to hit with the second strike.
19 also hits.
All right, that is another 22 bludgeoning.
Wyatt's getting cornered over here.
Latoni, you are up.
Ooh, okay, now I can start attacking this guy. As a tiny version of himself. 15,
15 hits.
14 slashing. 24 definitely hits
Obvious
for
hit.
another
Yep.
for 10 slashing.
Okay.
Then another hit. 24 to hit for 13. 13 piercing.
All right.
That's... Oh wait, that last one. Do I wanna... Well, Wyatt, do you intend on moving next round? Or do you intend on moving soon?
Where?
I don't know. Well, I mean...
Right. Take 3 opportunity attacks.
Okay, good point. I'll have my thing move me 5 feet this way. So like when after I attack him, my rats push me 5 feet away, and then I will move over to here. So I'm flanking with Wyatt.
Okay. Yep. Where did the rats move you?
They moved. Okay, wait, sorry. They moved me from here to here.
Tony, unfortunately, you do still provoke an opportunity attack as they have a 10-foot reach.
Shit. Oh wait, could they?
It's a 24
would
to
I be
hit.
able to know that?
What's up?
Okay, yeah, that hit. That's. I was gonna say, would I be able to know that? Because I would have just moved over here and then have them move me again. But I guess not. Because like I would have seen like how far they could reach.
Yeah, you haven't seen them swing that far, although... Make an intelligence check.
With advantage, because I'm like giants are my favorite enemy.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so flat intelligence.
You know, you said giants are your favorite enemy. You would know they have that reach. Go ahead and do what you got to do to avoid the opportunity attack.
Yeah, so I just move over here and then have them push me away.
Okay.
I'll run over here.
Got it.
That's it.
Okay, Horace, you're up.
Oh, good. You didn't hear any of that. I want to move down a little so that I'm not between a flank between the two giants, but that the spirit guardians are catching that third one.
Okay, so you want to move to right here.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, like there.
That would be missing the farthest one.
Really? Okay.
If you want to get here, you won't be flanked, and you'll get all 3 of them.
Really? Okay.
Wouldn't
Then-
that still be
then
flanking them? 'Cause,
That's good for me.
I generally say that there's only one side on each of them, so you'd have to be standing here, here, or here. This doesn't make sense to me as far as a flank
Okay.
goes.
Are we flanking?
No, you are not.
Oh.
You would need to go. Wyatt's really not in a good position to flank that one.
You have to be here, theoretically speaking, but
Would this have counted if I was here then?
There's actually a good. Is it in the DMG or in the PHB that has the flanking? Because this is actually going to come up a lot with these huge and large creatures.
I'd have to look. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I think it's if yeah, okay, I have a picture. It is if you're in one. I think it's if you're in one of the squares that are.
Yeah, we can get a
Really
picture
weird.
because we're gonna need to reference that a lot. So.
Mm.
So we'll make a call on it right now, and then we will use that going forward. So, let me see if I can find that picture.
I have this one, but it's for slightly smaller creatures. Wait, it might not show up soon. There we go. It's for slightly smaller ones, so it's not as helpful, but it is a slight.
It's the DMG. Okay, give me 1 second. I'll find it. I'll find the official ruling on it, and we can see what it's, because it definitely has all the images for large creatures too. $251. Perfect.
Because whatever would have been sufficient flanking would have been what I was doing.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, according to DMG, as long as you can draw a straight line between, then you are good. So this is interesting. The DMG is not super descriptive. So Horace, where would you like to stand? Because according to the DMG, where you're standing right now would be flanking, but also Wyatt and Latoni are flanking against it. So it's up to you. Where would you like to stand?
It's fine. Oh, well, if they're flanking, then I'll stand right next to Wyatt so I can shield him, and I'll take a dodge action and will
Negate that. Perfect. Yeah.
negate the flanking.
Perfect. Okay, so that'll be us going forward, especially since we're going to be dealing with these huge-sized creatures so much. Flanking is very dynamic in these situations. You can flank from here. You could technically flank there as well. Lots of flanking opportunities on larger creatures.
How about them? Would they be flanking from here?
Yes.
Okay. Like if there was a creature right here.
If there was a creature right here, they would have flanking.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, have at 'em.
Yep. Brevin, you're up.
I changed up what I was going to do a little bit.
Yeah, that was an important rule for us to look up, just because of how much we're going to start dealing with giants coming up. Like, there's going to be a section where we're pretty much just giants of various varieties for like days.
Nice.
Roughly how damaged do these 3 within?
This one is like on his deathbed. This one is hurt, not nearly as bad though. The other 2 are both moderately damaged.
So these two down here are the lower part damage.
These ones are less damaged.
Okay, this one up here it has the most damage. Okay. Well then, we're going to try to at least drop one of these. I am going to need it to make an intelligence.
Really?
So this-
You're gonna do that to him?
Yes, I am.
Okay, he actually rolled really, really well for himself, and he got an 11.
Okay, his saving throw had to be a 16. How this is going to look with Brevin is his eyes just
Oh my
it's kind of
God.
vampiric. And he's just going to reach into its head and just try to rip whatever. with
There's
the
not much.
little emulsive compulsion.
Which
All
one
right.
was that?
This one. Let's get the
Motion
damage.
damage.
28 will kill him outright.
There we go.
Yay,
Now
flanking.
you're- now you're
Yeah,
not worried
flanking.
about
Don't have to worry about that anymore.
So good.
Okay.
And that's it.
All right. This hill giant here is going to take one swing at Horus.
He gets a wisdom save versus a
got it.
13 versus a 14.
He gets
to
a
take 13.
he gets a big ol' 0 on that save.
Okay, 13 damage.
And the Great Club attack against you, Horus, now at disadvantage because you took the dodge action, right?
Yep.
It is only an 11.
Misses.
Okay. Second one, 50-50 for Latoni and Wyatt. Rolling the D2. 1 is Wyatt, 2 is Latoni.
I'm still taunting him.
Oh, are you?
Yes.
Never mind. Latoni, it is a 19 to hit you.
Yep.
22 bludgeoning.
Ooh,
Charles, you're up.
spicy.
Alright. Now that that one's down, I can move my hex around, so I'll move it onto the injured one over here.
Okay.
And here comes some more attacks. Ooh,
There's actually a couple misses from Charles.
damn. That's unfortunate.
It's gotta happen sometimes.
Say this is unheard of.
I'll use
Right.
my inspiration. I'll use my inspiration to make one of them hit it.
No, he has to hit once, right? Alright, which one were you shooting at? The injured one?
This one. Yeah, the injured one.
Oh, yeah.
The
Oh.
orange.
The orange one, you
Yeah.
got it. The orange one takes 18 points. Okay.
Plus another 5 for hex. So I got the her hex on.
23 points. Good stuff.
And then my Luna will attack the other giant there.
Nice. 21 certainly hits. 9 will take that one down.
Perfect. That's what I was hoping for. That'll be my turn.
That probably helps you get your axe out there, Dandy.
Thank you.
No problem.
Wyatt.
We're gonna hit the one that Latoni's flanked.
16 hits. What is that, 20?
God.
34.
Oh, I've missed the big one. Down he goes.
Yeah, that's because I have an upcasted spirit shroud and my you know what I mean, the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to circle around. 20, and that should put flanking for one's force on the 20.
Horus would need to move one step closer.
Right. As a bonus action, I will also pull health from that one that I just killed and cast Mass Healing Word for anyone who needs it. Don't mind the necrotic. It's just 4 plus an additional 5, so 9 total.
Okay.
Latoni can take 9, and I don't know if anybody else. Luna, does Luna heal from Healing Word? I'm not sure. Luna construct.
She's a
think she needs
construct.
Oh yeah,
med.
she's a construct.
Okay, then it'll just be Latoni and
Yeah.
anybody else who might have taken
So how much will I heal for?
9.
Ooh.
Okay. Brings us to E. Destroyer of Worlds.
He just decides to try to test her this way. He's convinced that he is the reason all these other ones have. That Dandy and Luna dropped that other one.
Alright. These giants just have such unfortunate art, don't they? I mean...
They do.
I think for what it is, It looks nice. That's also a very detailed ear that kind of like stands out, I think, compared to everything else. Just by like the art style, it's very simplistic, and then there's the ear.
No, you're not wrong.
So they
All
have very
right.
immaculate ears.
That giant is dead. Brings us over to Steve, who's going to reposition and take some more longbow shots. This is his fifth and sixth longbow shots. How many arrows did he have?
He has however many arrows you can normally carry.
Was
I
it?
think it was 6.
20?
Yeah, I think it was
20
20 of the
probably.
magic arrows.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's not using magic arrows.
Oh, he's
actually.
not yet. My
You
bad.
don't- You'd only be using those magic arrows if you're
Oh,
fighting an enemy with
I understand.
resistance.
Okay, got it. Okay, those both hit.
Is
And
the plus,
I have 9 magical arrows that you can use
Okay.
for that purpose.
is the +1 added to his thing, by the way?
Not the longbow. Only
Just his
melee
longsword.
Oh,
Yeah.
yep.
Because normally I'd expect him to go into melee, but
You all seem to have it under control. All right, Dandy.
Dandy is going to be like, "Let's go, Luna," and like run over the dead giant, and like just leap at the standing one with her axe.
That would certainly be an interesting sensation running on top of that thing.
Like running on a waterbed.
Right.
Yay! No.
E, giving you advantage, 20 hits.
Yay!
Awesome.
Plus a d6 for my lightning damage, and then I'm just gonna do it again. Pew
Hit.
pew.
No, they're not.
Not great, but not bad.
Okay. It is going to turn and attempt to retaliate against you, Dandy.
Wisdom save.
Wisdom save incoming.
13 damage.
She's just blowing raspberries at it.
Does get a 6. 13 damage. Dandy, it does get a 25 to hit you.
Yep.
For 20 bludgeoning.
So half it.
Yep. Second attack is a 22 to hit
Right
you.
on.
For 11 bludgeoning, halved it down to 5.
Okay. He's gonna
Jeez.
just keep blowing the raspberry. even though
Right?
it's in there.
It's like, that was like surprisingly low damage for 2 giant hits. Latoni.
Ooh, I lost Hunter's Mark, but I'm going to slide over here and flank with Dandy and attack 3 times.
Hit.
Yep.
That is a 13. 13 hits.
Yep. Also, really low damage. Both
Yeah,
nat
unfortunate.
ones. And then 23 to hit for 10.
Right.
And I'm also gonna slightly change my form to look like this guy.
It's just so rude. Just look like them while you kill them.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay, Horus.
How large is he?
He is huge.
Oh, so he's above. Oh, then we could have like been running through them.
Yep.
Okay, I'll just move up there and let's just
You're flanking with Wyatt if you want.
yeah.
Horus doesn't
Doesn't
hit stuff
matter.
though. Yeah.
So Toll the Dead, 14 DC.
Just throwing the
Wisdom save.
wisdom saves and intelligence saves at these poor things. He gets a 1.
It's 2d12. Oh,
Oh, low
okay,
damage,
it's
unfortunate.
damage.
Okay. Brevin.
Well, time to resort to the tried and true and just start blasting them.
So I started blasting.
Right?
Every single time I started blasting.
I am going to use it since I am in my roll my extra one. Roll my first damage. 8.
Brevin 8 does take him down.
Okay. Awesome. Oh, sorry. The other one was coming in. Okay.
All right,
Well.
everybody. So, these lost giants fell before you. Each of them carries a bag. As you all have seen before, all of these giants have their giant bags. So, we'll roll on what's in the giant's bag 5 times.
Dandy is just like rubbing Luna's ears. Good girl, such a good girl.
Blood continues to drip from her jaw.
Hey, that's actually kind of cool. Dragon scales.
Ooh. Is the 1d6 rolled for the 1?
It is, yeah. So a dragon scale. Impressive.
How big is it?
I would say it's probably about the size of a dinner plate. So about 12 inches, diameter 12 inches.
Alright. I know that's like a spell component for like a pretty good spell, so I was just thinking about it.
Okay. All right, so yeah. A painted rocking horse, and we'll say and a wooden toboggan. An uprooted shrub. It is quite dead. A wooden oar. Seems like it was taken from a longboat, a small folk-sized longboat. There is an unlocked empty wooden chest in that dragon scale.
Cool.
Yeah.
Dragon scale is probably the best thing there.
All right, everyone. So after ridding the countryside of a few marauding hill giants, you do eventually make your way the rest of the way to Everlund. And before...
That doesn't look right. I think up by
Oh,
to
you're
the
right.
east of Hawk's
Oh,
Nest.
I'm moving Horus. My bad. Hawk's Nest would have been
Get rid of
first.
those Horuses, please.
How many more we got? I see a Brevin up there. There's another Horus over there.
Thank you.
Okay.
I wasn't going to say nothing.
So, is there anything that you all would like to do at Silvery Moon or the Hawk's Nest as you head back?
Where did Dandy have her armor back at?
Everlund.
All I would do is sell some more adventure, some more stuff.
Okay.
I don't really have anything. I just kind of want to see what they made for Dandy, honestly.
If
Would
you
we need
told
to go check on the town that they ate?
if you told Hawk's Nest about what was going on, they would inform you that they already visited that town, and they would pay you a bounty of 200 gold for destroying those giants.
Okay, I'll add that to the group stuff then.
Brevin, are you helping Charles with his sales pitches?
Yes, I will.
Okay, so that is
think you need
31
to.
gold you make, Charles. Right, Charles, I'm seeing that too. In the future, make checks instead of saves. You would just on your Roll20 character sheet, you just hit the stat.
Oh, right.
So on the far left, you just hit the stat.
Yeah, because you're proficient in it and saves. So I was
Oh,
thinking
that's
of it.
right. Right, my bad.
No worries, not a big deal. Okay. Anything you all want to do at Silvery Moon, other than Charles's normal thing?
I think you said it would be.
Hmm.
We should sell something here. There was
The
something we
spell book.
I can tell you all that Everlund would be a better place to sell that.
I'll
It's
hold up
it's
on
the
that.
it's the trade center and basically the purchasing
Everyone
point
got it
of
then.
this area.
We're gonna get to Everlund, and you're gonna say it's actually Jalathar.
No,
When we get there,
so
have-
once we get to Everlund, I'm going to show you all the armor that was made for Dandy, and then any other shopping that we can do, anything else like that we can take care of next week. But for now, is there anything that you want to do at Silvery Moon?
I think I already looked here for the stick, right? Or
Indeed.
no?
We'll remind me next week, and we'll do the same thing in Everland. you'll actually have a better chance of finding it there than at either of the other two places you've been. But if there's nothing else to do in Silvery Moon, we will go ahead and get to Everland. And as you all get into the city, make your way over to the shops. Dandy's armor is ready. And here it is.
I'm so excited. Ooh.
Now, Dandy, I can't remember if you paid for this or not yet.
I did.
Okay.
I made sure I left it there, so I wouldn't be tempted to spend the money somewhere else.
Okay.
You can petrify yourself.
That's the coolest thing ever. I have like statue camouflage. Oh my god, I'm a freaking angel. I'm a weeping angel.
For
Ah!
12 seconds, you can become your own statue.
Could she like,
Yes.
if she repeatedly uses her action to do that? I'm assuming it could be just like continuous, more
Yeah.
than like. Okay.
Oh no, once you've used this feature, you may not do so again until you finish a short or long rest.
Oh, I just saw that. My
I
bad.
did put that down there.
This is awesome. Sean.
What's the? How do you do the get conditions to show up? Exclamation point.
Exclamation point, condition, space, and then the name of the condition. Spelling has to be correct.
I made 99 gold just from walking around.
All right, everybody. We'll go ahead and call it a session here. When we come back next week, we can have some more shopping time in Everland. You've been gone for a good 6 or 7 days now, so the shops will all refresh. You're able to spend some more gold there if you'd like to, spend however much time you'd like there. And then your teleportation circle is there, so you can go wherever you want from there.